add a little bit of filler to those last three little spots there. And I'll try to show you what I'm doing here. I'm going to mix up a little bit of body filler. Alright, so I'm going to mix up some body fillers here. There's not a lot left in this can, but enough to do what I've got to do. What you want to make sure on your body fillers is that there's not a bunch of clumps in it, because some clumps are going to show right up. If you've got really clumpy old body filler, you'd probably be best off, if you're really concerned with a good smooth coat and not a bunch of clumps or like grooves that tend to get in it from having something in it, then you may just want to go pick up a can of some new stuff. And if you don't need a lot of it, you don't need to buy a big can. Generally, I've done a lot with this. Generally, you're going to put more Bondo and more body filler in it. See, there's a little dent, just a little dip there. A little bit of a dip right there on that. But I can't just go over that spot there. And of course, this spot has a little right there and a little right there. The nice thing, really nice thing to do with the body fillers, if you can find it, and it is kind of hard to find sometimes, if you can get different colored hardeners. They make them in clear. I've seen them in yellow. I've seen them in blue. And of course the standard red. If you can get your different colored body fillers, you're pretty good. Now with the pile that I got here, if you looked at that, you know, I'd say that's the pile. That's about the size of $2 silver if you flatten it out. You got to remember, the harder you mix it, if you put too much cream hardener in it, you're only going to want something about on a pile that size, maybe something about the size of a dime or a little bigger. If you mix it too hard, it's going to set up fast, and so then you can't get it to lay down as smooth as you'd like, because you only get 1 or 2 strokes across it, and then it starts setting up. I like to use cardboard, pieces of cardboard, just because they're disposable, and then I can throw, I can just throw them away once the Bondo's gone. Once I'm done mixing. Try to get it a pinkish color, not too dark. Like I say, the less hardener you put in it, the better it's going to actually be able to smooth out and spread for you. And I'm not seeing any clumps in that, so that's looking pretty good. It's going to be kind of a consistency of like a peanut butter when you do it. And even when you mix it kind of wet, you don't have a whole lot of time to mess around. And you're going to want a good, smooth, clean scraper, because if your scraper's got a lot of gunk on it, that's going to show up in it. And what I will do in this piece here, because that is right there, I'm going to start from about here and just go a light kind of thin coat over it. Up here, that's across there. I'm going to have to pretty much go across the whole area. Maybe a little thicker in the one spot. Look like I got a clump of something right there, so I'm going to pop that out of there. You don't want to get a lot of excess, because the more you have in it, the more you have to sand out of it. you're going to want to do is just kind of get a nice, even, smooth coat across that, like that right there. And just keep in mind, most of that's going to be sanded back out of there. But I do got a few little clumps in there. And this has just a little bit right there, so I'm going to come up on that, because that's the spot that I want to smoothen out. And I'm not sure where them clumps are coming from, but it's kind of bumming me out. I can sand them back out, but it just makes it a little more work. So, and that might be a little thicker than what I wanted it. You get down to the bottom of that. And you can't do a whole lot of messing around once it starts to tack up. Once it gets tacking up, it's pretty much what you got. And if you get those big clumps in it, you just kind of spread it nice and lightly and kind of smooth. You don't get too many times to go across it. And it should be my last coating. Most of that is going to be sanded right back out of it. Just keep in mind that the thicker you lay it in a spot, the harder it's going to sand. And right now this is all block sand. I'm not doing any DA, any electric sanders of any kind. So I'm kind of keep it smooth. I mixed a little bit too much hardener, but it'll be alright. And any excess that you don't really want to have to sand hard, I will usually just wipe off with my fingers and get it smooth, because I've got to sand it all out. So the smoother I have it, the less I have to sand out. And it sands out pretty easy. I mean, I'll be using some 100 grit on this just to get it where I want it. That should be good, and I'm pretty much hoping once I get that down that that's going to be my last skim coat. I might have to do one more thin skim coat depending on what the dings feel like or what the indentations. If they don't feel too bad, I'm not going to worry about it, because like I say, I'm not doing a show truck. I'm just wanting a decent little work truck that's going to doesn't look like it's falling apart from rust. But what's nice about using different colored hardeners is that as you sand through your putty that's already been hardened up, once you start getting to that different colored layer, you know when to kind of stop or when to start sanding a little bit lighter. It didn't lay down as smooth as I'd like it, but I can sand that back out of there. We'll see what it looks like the next time I film it. The next time I get it sanded out, I will work on that. Like I say, I like to kind of use the cardboard just because I can just throw it away when it's done. I don't have to worry too much about, cleaning off my mixing board. And that's it for now. It's going to be tomorrow or next day if I get the chance before I sand that out of there. And I will see what that looks like after it's sanded. And we'll go from there.